All right. Here we go, guys and gals. And boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, drivers.
Welcome back to the Loose Wheel Podcast, episode number 16.
The award-winning Loose Wheel Podcast.
Woohoo.
We have to always say that now.
Okay.
Until our egos get too big and we explode.
I'm not going to explode from my ego, because I just don't have one. I'll explode from maybe other things, but we're not going to get into that.
That's a really weird thing to say on a podcast.
Anyway, with that being said, a lot of
things... You didn't even do your I'm Andrew, that's Ethan thing.
Yeah.
That's Andrew, I'm Ethan.
Yeah, hi people that are new and don't know us. I'm Andrew. I talk about NASCAR mostly. So let's get into the reviews.
And now for last week's race reviews.
Talladega, Austin Hill extended his streak of leading laps at the super speedways to 13 races. He's 13 for 13 since joining Richard Childress Racing. But he did not win. It was his teammate, Jesse Love, who won. So yeah, they've kind of dominated super speedways this year. Anyway, in Cup, Kyle Larson failed qualifying, so he didn't get to qualify due to his roof rail. And then he did a pass-through, fell a lap down. A couple of notable drivers that led during stage one before pit stops were Michael McDowell, B.J. McLeod, Chase Briscoe, Justin Haley, Martin Truex Jr., Chase Elliott, and Noah Gragson. Then B.J. McLeod, while he was running up front, he got pushed into the wall, ran out of gas. So that's just an oopsie. Then green flag pit stops happened. Denny Hamlin spun entering pit road, no yellow. 71 of Zane Smith and Suarez, Daniel Suarez, both speeding. 9 and 2. Chase Elliott led off the pit stops. Cindric passed him, won stage 1. Lap down Larson was a factor in how the stage ended, kind of shook up the battles a little bit. Larson got the free pass for the stage caution. Busch took the lead in the pits. 12 free pass Busch on the restart. A couple no couples that led. You had Blaney, Busch, SVG, Anthony Alfredo, Gragson, Nemechek, and Buescher. Cars pit. The 22 and 11 were leading on strategy, just staying out longer. And then LaJoie spun, exiting pits, no yellow. That was the only thing LaJoie would hit, or incident he would be involved in that race. Bell and Blaney had speeding penalties. Buescher re-inherited the lead after stops. And then he was passed by Logano, who won stage 2. Similar to how stage 1 played out, really. Stage 3, Logano and Chastain led. Yellow for Haley and Val Briscoe had a slide in as well. And then going green had a couple leaders, new leaders, Barry, McDowell, and Hemrick. Pit stops under green. And then the Toyotas, they all pitted together. And then four of them wrecked. Wallace, Nemechek, Jones, and Hamlin. They wrecked. And then Reddick inherited the lead because he already pitted. So, yeah, that wound up working out for him. It's him and McDowell lead. McDowell was leading final lap, blocking Keselowski. Keselowski goes high, McDowell blocks high. Keselowski goes low, McDowell blocks low. And while on that block, spun, wrecked. And then it was a battle to the line between Keselowski and Reddick, who Reddick won. Michael Jordan got the first time he's been in victory lane as an owner. The other times that he won, he wasn't there, but now he was. So that's good.
Love that for him.
He got to have a wholesome moment with Tyler Reddick's kid, walked him and held him in, while entering victory lane. So yeah, that's cool. But meanwhile, in the rest of the world, everyone wrecked pretty much. Josh Berry got some airtime. Corey LaJoy rode the wall and kind of flipped. So yeah, that was a big wreck. A lot of people, including Kyle Busch, were complaining, saying that how it's hard to do anything. And yeah, that is true. I would say with the next gen car, what they wanted to do with the next gen car, because you look at the Gen 6 that ran from 2013 to 2021. What that car's weakness was the cookie cutter 1.5 mile speedways like Kansas, Las Vegas, for instance. And it was, at best, I would say, on the road courses. Then the short tracks were good for the most part, then the super speedways. And there was a big drop to these cookie cutters that made up most of the schedule. Now, with there's been a little bit of shift of getting rid of cookie cutters for Atlanta, which was a cookie cutter, now a super speedway, more road courses onto the schedule. But yeah, with that shift, but NASCAR, they still have a good amount of cookie cutters that are the bulk of the schedule still, but they weren't as the bulk as they once were. With that being said, they made the next gen really good on these cookie cutters, but everywhere else it's taking a step down. But I will say that's why you see short tracks, road courses, car sucks, and super speedways. It wasn't as good as the Gen 6 was, and I saw this on somewhere. I think it was on Reddit. But someone said, let's bring back the packages where just a package just for these intermediates, cookie cutters, package for short track and road courses, packages for super speedways, and do that with just special bumper clips front and rear. I don't know how much that would do anything, but if NASCAR wants a successful car that's good everywhere, they have to make it so that it can be changed easily for these different tracks. And I don't think NASCAR wants to do that, unfortunately, but that's what I would like to see. Is it disappointing? Yes. It's for costs, cutting costs, because race teams are losing money. Yeah. Anyway, also, interesting tidbit from the race. Corey LaJoy finished 18th, making him the second driver to finish 18th with no wheels on the ground. Clint Boyer.
Wait, what?
Clint Boyer finished 18th in the 2007 Daytona 500, upside down and on fire.
Yeah, no, I've seen the Clint Boyer thing, but
Corey LaJoy finished 18th on his side.
On his side?
Yes.
He rolled across the finish line, like, on his side.
Yes. And they were also in a 7 car, Clint being the 07 technically, with 0 wins at that point in their career. So and Clint Boyer, later, he won his first race in New Hampshire, I believe that same year. But, so, then in that case, you are telling me it was actually that year. So you're telling me Corey LaJoy is winning New Hampshire. Heard it here first. And you won't hear it from me ever again.
Okay.
I don't think it will actually happen.
I expect you to predict that.
It's not going to happen. Let's be real here. But it would be interesting. Just saying. Moving to the next race in the reviews. Imola happened in WEC. It rained. Toyota won in Imola. Just seen here, they had good battles with the Porsche, Ferrari. I'm just seeing here. Just because I was not able to watch the race, but yeah, this win for Toyota gives Mr. Nick De Vries a win, which something he didn't do in Formula One. And you have the Porsches had a double podium. The Ferrari team had a bad strategy error where it cost them all over a minute. So Ferrari being Ferrari, traditions. Yeah, I'm just seeing here because I should have read this before going on the podcast, but I didn't. Slacker for me, I guess. Yeah. You had plenty of incidents. Multiple car pile off at the start. You had the Isada car along with the 36 Alpine and the 15 BMW and the 94 Peugeot all involved. Yeah, that was something. And then the BMW team in LMGT3 1-2 with Farfus, Galal, and Lung. That's Sean Galal, if you know him from Formula 2.
I know all about Sean Galal.
Yeah. And then you had the sister car, the 46, for the 31. They finished P2. That is the Valentino Rossi mobile. And your pick, the Pure Racing Manthe Porsche, controlled the first half of the race, fell back when they gambled and took wets. Off the podium, one of the Ferraris and the Heart of Racing Aston were just off. Yeah, that was my pick. I'm just seeing whatever. Just really, at the end of the day, not much happened. Manthe's second Porsche ended up in barriers after Sarah Bovey hit it. Yeah. So, looking at the points in the WEC, that's what I'm going to do now. After your two races, you have You have the... I want to go to teams because that's more important to me. You have the Porsche still leading, which is the 6 over the 7 Toyota and the 5 Porsche in the top 3, followed by the Hertz Team Jota 12, I think that's the 50 Ferrari, and then the 83 AF Corsa Ferrari. And the other Toyota, one of the BMWs, an Alpine. The other Ferrari, the Proton, Porsche, the other Peugeot, the Cadillac, and everyone else who don't have points yet. Because the FIA's points system is dumb. I will die on that hill. But anyway, moving on to LMGT3. Manthe Pure Racing, still P1 in championship, followed by the winning WRT BMW. Heart of Racing third. The other BMW team, the Distache and Aston. So that's the 2 BMWs and the 2 Astons in the top 5, along with the leading Porsche. Then the 2 Ferraris, one of the McLarens, the 2 Chevrolets, one of the Iron Lynx Lamborghinis, the 2 Proton Fords, the other McLaren, and the McLaren and all the other rest of the field with a whopping 0 points. Hypercar World Manufacturers Championship, Porsche, Toyota, Ferrari, BMW, Alpine, Peugeot, Lamborghini, Cadillac, and Isotta with 0. With the hypercar teams, the privateer trophy, Hertz Team Jota still leads over A, of course, by a singular point. Ethan Ignatowski, Proton far back, and the 38 Jota far back as well. And yeah, that's really it. Yeah. But moving on to our local sports car racing, not too far from here. They race at Long Beach. I did watch this race. 31 led in GTP to start the race. 89 led as well in GTD. 12 GTD got drive-through for changing lanes at the start. And then the 70 McLaren hit the wall, re-entering Shoreline, and the 120 Porsche, both GTD cars, hit them, full course yellow. Nothing really happened, but green flag pit stops eventually ensued. But the 01 Cadillac passed the fellow 31 Cadillac on the overcut. 01 did no tires compared to everyone else doing 2. If you recall last year, that was the winning Porsche strategy, didn't do no tires. And the 40 Acura in GTP crashed, causing full course yellow. At this point, the 25 and the 5 hypercars were still out. And then, actually, it was it was the 5. Then GTD stops were complete. 89 still led. 01 led 31 in GTP. And then the 10 in GTP and the 85, they got together, contact. 12 Lexus had damage and from something. The 25 GTP BMW gets damage for ping pong in the hairpin, looking like a bunch of billiard balls, just when you break it in pool. The 78 Lamborghini and the GT touring cars, which is GTD, gets drive-through for starting it. 86 hits the 27, damage to 27. Again, in a different incident, 25 hit wall, exiting Shoreline into, I think it's turn 5 or 6, but causing full course yellow, went green, and the 01 Cadillac 89 win, making me look like a genius for getting a pick right. Yay me. But in the points for GTP and GTD, not LMP2 and GT Pro, they did not participate because of road space, but in GTP, still it is the 7 Porsche Penske team now leading over the 01 Cadillac and the 31 Action Express Cadillac. 40 Wayne Taylor just behind, 6 Porsche, 25, then 24 BMWs, the Proton Mustang sampling, 5 Privateer Porsche, then the 10 Wayne Taylor Acura with Andretti, and the 85 JDC Miller Porsche in last of the full-time entries for GTP. Moving into GTD, Windward Racing still held their lead. Now, with a podium, Turner Motorsport moves up to second, followed by Conquest Racing, and if you want to look at the rest, you can, but I'm just going over top 3. In manufacturer standings, Cadillac now leads Porsche, Acura, and BMW. And GTD, it is Mercedes, Lexus, Porsche, Lamborghini, Chevrolet, Acura, McLaren, Aston Martin, Ford, BMW, and Ferrari. So yeah. Moving on to the big race in Long Beach, the IndyCar Series. Ethan nods as he is bored out of his mind, probably. I don't know. The race starts on lap 2 for some reason. I'm guessing it was because they didn't bunch the field up well enough, but I was watching it on mute at the time. I haven't looked back since. Power passes the pole setter Felix Rosenquist on the start. Award hits teammate Rossi, who pits drive-through for Pato, ended his race. The 20 Rex, he just lost it due to broken toe link on contact with the wall from the hairpin. And then collects the 18 of Jack Harvey. Split strategy, top 11 stay out. With the leaders Newgarden, Ericsson, Herta over the cars that don't were Mr. Will Power, Scott Dixon, and Christian Lundgaard. They pitted. 45 unsafe release penalty. Had to let by 5 cars, so that ruined his race. The 2 pits at one point, 26 leads. So Dixon leads over Power and Mr. Kyle Kirkwood. And then on the main strategy, it's Newgarden, Herta, Palou. Alternate strategy that pits. Same order for both, just flip-flopped. And then there's other cars involved. Then the main strategy pits. And after they pit, it is Dixon, Newgarden, Herta, Power, Palou, top 5. Palou and Ericsson passed Power. McLaughlin was slow at some point. He lost a bunch of positions. Then the Newgarden got hit by Herta in the hairpin, who loses spots because anti-Saul. That went on. And then Dixon's teammate Kiffin Simpson was sitting in front of the 26 for a while. And that's pretty much how they finished. Dixon with a masterful fuel save won over Herta, Palou, Newgarden, and Ericsson. And I'm just quickly going to talk about Scott Dixon. The amount of fuel saving this man does and wins is incredible. He's just he's so good at this. For every time the broadcaster just doubts him, makes me doubt him, and then he just says, "Nah, I'm fuel saving this." So I think what the numbers are hearing for fuel, it's short already. So add 3 laps, and then from Scott Dixon, because he's just great at everything, add him 3 laps. So if they say the fuel run is 30 to 32 laps, it's really 36 to 38 laps for Scott Dixon. Just note that down now. He's great at it. And I just don't. He's just great at everything. He knows when to go fast, and he's great at going slow while going fast. If that makes any sense. But anyway, Ethan, talk about the China race.
I was hoping you would say something like that. I am here to talk about the sprint and the main race. Getting into it real quick, Lando Norris, Lewis Hamilton starting on the front row in the sprint. They go into the first little turning section, and Lando and Lewis, what happens? Lando goes off the track. He falls down from second all the way to P7. The curse continues, if you want to call it that. But, of course, Max Verstappen is inevitable. He caught up to Lewis Hamilton by lap 9, took the lead, and absolutely ran away. But that doesn't mean there wasn't action. There was a lot of battles during the sprint. Alonso, Sainz, Perez, and Leclerc were all fighting for third for a while there, really. Unfortunately, Alonso got damage during that battle. I believe he was hit by Sainz, I believe it was. So Sainz ran into, or made contact, not really ran into, but made contact with one of Alonso's tires. Flat tire. He had to DNF from the race. But those guys continued. Leclerc made a nice pass on Carlos in the closing stages of the sprint. So the top 8, the point scoring positions, remember for the sprint, is just 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in that order from first down to 8th. So Verstappen, Hamilton, Perez, Leclerc, Sainz, Norris, still getting points there despite not having as many as he wanted. Piastri and George Russell. George Russell came up the field through to 8th due to Alonso DNFing and his soft tires, which helped him get up through the field. For the actual race, Fernando Alonso made a great move off of the line to get into P2. It almost looked like he was going to challenge Verstappen for first for a second. Both the Ferraris struggled early on, falling behind Nico Hülkenberg, but were able to get back past Nico Hülkenberg pretty soon. Perez was able to get back past Alonso on lap 5 after Alonso jumped him off the start. And then Alonso kind of started falling down the field. Lando took third from Alonso on lap 7. Leclerc started to charge up through the field, getting past Russell and Piastri. I believe he got past Alonso as well, as Lando took the lead due to Red Bull pitting. And then Valtteri Bottas DNF'd. And it took absolutely forever to get a double yellow and then a virtual safety car. And then eventually they committed to a full safety car. But it took way, way too long to wave those double yellows and get a VSC out there. Because Bottas was standing outside of his car while drivers... He was far off the racetrack, but still, while drivers were coming around that section of the track. It was super dangerous for absolutely no reason, and I have no idea why the FIA or F1 hasn't really said anything about it, because it was extremely dangerous. I don't understand why they didn't wave the flags earlier. It might seem like I'm overreacting here, but we've seen bad things happen before. There's a reason that we have these safety precautions. Why aren't we using them? I don't understand that. Hopefully that doesn't happen anymore. But anyway, on the VSC and the eventual safety cars, some drivers were able to benefit from it, like Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc, who came out of the safety car period second and third with Verstappen in the lead. Lance Stroll did Lance Stroll things. He was looking at the apex instead of the cars in front of him during the safety car. So when Fernando Alonso locked up a little bit and the cars Constantino'd, Stroll, instead of braking as well, hit into the back of Daniel Ricciardo and then blamed Daniel Ricciardo for it, even though it was 110% Lance Stroll's fault. Just silly. Every time I want to start defending Lance Stroll again, he just does something stupid like that. So Daniel's car got damage. He hit into the back of Oscar Piastri, who had damage as well. Just crazy. And the carnage didn't stop there, because Kevin Magnussen decided to perform a pit maneuver on Yuki Tsunoda under green a short while later. So Yuki's race was ruined. And then we actually got some actually good racing up and down the grid. Alonso and Sainz had some nice battling, and then Kevin Magnussen and Lance Stroll, the two drivers that decided to ruin other drivers' races, had one of the craziest and best battles that I've seen in Formula One in quite some time. It was absolutely epic. It's just hilarious that it's two drivers that had done some pretty dumb things earlier on in the race, but really nice racing from them there. It's just I don't even know what to say about those two. I really don't. They had a nice battle, but I have nothing nice to say about those two right now. Perez was able to get past Leclerc on lap 39 to get P3, but couldn't catch up to Lando Norris, so the podium was Verstappen, Norris, Perez. Alonso was able to finish in, what was that, in 7th, after having to change tires late in the race, going on the mediums after the softs didn't work out. Lewis Hamilton struggled starting way back in the field, like 18th or something. He was able to get 9th, but he struggled up the field. He would not stop complaining, so
People
wasn't.
love to complain.
Yeah, he wasn't happy with the car, but Lewis always loves to complain, but he wasn't happy with the car. And just some other little things from the race. Logan Sargent is now sitting at 10 out of 12 penalty points during a calendar year, which for passing under the safety car. So if he gets 2 more penalty points before, I will let you know later on in the podcast. But if he gets 2 more penalty points within this 12-month period, he will be banned for a race. So, I mean, that's
A yikes.
that is a big yikes. So, yeah, or was it 8 penalty points?
Oh, nice.
Not sure. But either way, Logan, more penalty points. If he continues to rack them up, he will have to sit out a race. And Daniel Ricciardo has a 3-place grid drop penalty for the next race in Miami for passing under the safety car. Pretty unfair, but that's the way it goes. Verstappen, Norris, Perez, Leclerc, Sainz, Russell, Alonso, Piastri, Hamilton, and Nico Hülkenberg were the top 10 in China. Miami up next.
Woo. Shall we get into the news?
Let's get into the news. And now for the news.
I'll put this in, so I'll talk about it. I like this. I like that's not what I did. Scroll.
You put so much.
Yeah, it's points to be for top 12 to be discussed by the F1 Commission.
Yes.
And I like that. I want to see points for the top for
I
all
like-
drivers.
I don't like that.
It's a small step because at the end of the day, series in America, they do this right, and they say points for everyone because you participated, you did a thing, and you shall be
participation trophy.
Oh, it's not a trophy. It accurately shows the battles of the back, and that's what it is.
It does.
That's why I like it. I think that's why it needs to be implemented. I want accuracy. Like Ethan, us journalists, we strive for accuracy,
Sure.
and I want to see accuracy in other things too. And and what the F1 point system now of for the last 10 drivers, it doesn't show how they race accurately at the end of the day, and that's why I don't like it. And I think the top 12 is a step in the right direction, and I like it.
I like the top 12 getting points. I don't know how I would feel about the whole field getting points. I feel like that strays too far away from Formula One's history, and you could also say that they've already strayed too far away from Formula One's history. I mean, you look at like the top 10 point-scoring drivers of all time, and like there are drivers there that are only there because they've raced in the modern era, not because they're actually deserving of being a top 10 F1 point-scoring driver of all time. So once you kind of start to think about it that way, I guess I understand it, but I don't think that F1 will ever go that extreme, and I don't think they need to go that extreme. I don't think everyone I understand what you're saying, but I don't think every single person needs points. But yeah, I would like to see the top 12 because there are enough good drivers, or there are enough good drives that go uncredited because only the top 10 gets points. I would also like there to be more cars in F1. So, add 24 cars or whatever, 22 cars, and it would still be, around, half of the grid getting points. But I don't think it needs to be, beyond the top 12 getting points if it's a 20-car grid.
I
know you disagree, but
we're
allowed to disagree on things. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Even though you're wrong here.
I think you're wrong, though.
Well, I know I'm right. It's like...
Are you right, though?
Well, at the end of the day, you get...
I just don't feel strongly about it. It's not even that I think you're wrong, because like I said, like I'm not sure. It's just I don't think it's necessary. You think it's necessary. I don't think it's necessary.
I'm gonna make a comparison to golf here. PGA golf. Before there's these elevated events for this year, or it might have been last year. I don't remember anything anymore because things are happening faster there. What happened was you have your tournament of your 120 guys or however. 60 of them make the cut. The other 60, they get 0 points. They don't get any money. They go home. Which is similar to what F1 does. But I think if you're not going to award points, don't award them prize money. And that would offend so many people that no one would like that. And that would never happen. So I think the alternate solution, and quite frankly, better solution, is to award everyone points. I don't feel the same way for golf. That this is not a golf podcast. I'm just going to say I don't feel the same way. But I feel that's how it should be, is if we're all doing this for money, we should be doing this for points as well at the end of the day. I
don't really have anything to add to that. I don't follow golf enough to follow along with that analogy, really.
Mario Andretti offended by Formula One rejection comments set for Miami meeting. Who knows what's going to come from this, to be honest, this meeting, Miami, which I don't blame him.
Yeah.
And I know Formula One wants Cadillac to join as soon as they can, but Cadillac has said, we're not going to join F1 until Andretti comes.
Yeah. Which
is, I think at the end of the day...
Good for those two for sticking together.
Yeah. Good for them. And quite frankly, I think if I'm F1, I want as many big baller brands
okay, dude.
in F1 as I can. You get Cadillac, big American brand, with as being a part of GM, and that's how you're gonna get more eyeballs.
I just simply don't understand why F1 seemingly doesn't want Andretti in Formula One. It would only be good.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, it would only be good. At the very worst, there is more battling at the back of the field. Yeah. At the very worst.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, Andrew, I know you have a little rant set up about the new NASCAR All-Star Race tires.
It's just random, and it'll be interesting. As you allude to, new tires for the All-Star Race. You got the Prime tire, which is basically the slick tire that they are bringing, which I don't know, they just call this the normal tire because that's what they call it, but they're bringing an option tire is what they're calling it, which is made from the wet weather tire, but it's a dry tire. So yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
So it'll be a softer tire, but built to be a dry tire, just from the material, from the wet tire. And then you have the wet tire. These will be marked by yellow for prime, white for wet, and option as red. You have some rules for these tires. Only the prime tire will be used during qualifying. Teams will have the option to start any type for practice, heat races, and the All-Star Open. The All-Star Race, you have to start on the option tire. Details for the heat races. The heat races will feature drivers already locked into the All-Star Race, which we'll get to later. There will be a caution on lap 30 for each heat race, and teams must perform a 4-tire stop. The results of the first heat race will determine the inside row of the All-Star Race, and the second heat race will determine the outside row. Details for the All-Star Open will be 100 laps with caution of lap 50. Teams must perform a 4-tire pit stop there. The top 2 finishers will advance to the All-Star race as well as the fan vote winner. So I would guess the fan vote winner right now would be Noah Gragson. Maybe? I think so. But just seeing who's locked in already. That's not seeing who's not locked in. I might be missing someone obvious. But anyway. Maybe Alex Bowen, I don't know. Anyway. The All-Star race will be 200 laps with caution at 100 and 150. At 100, teams must perform a 4-tire pit stop using any tire. All laps, cautionary flag will count. Your drivers locked in will be AJ Allmendinger, Christopher Bell, Ryan Blaney, Chris Buescher, Kyle Busch, William Byron, Ross Chastain, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson, Joey Logano, Michael McDowell, Tyler Reddick, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Daniel Suarez, Martin Truex Jr., and Shane Van Gisbergen. Be interesting to see what they Trackhouse does with Allmendinger and SVG locked in. Might move as one of those guys 31 to replace Hemrick, possibly, but I doubt that. I think it will be a third car for Colleague or Trackhouse. So yeah, we'll see if they even run those drivers. Who knows if they do? I would run them. Moving back to IndyCar, Teo Pourchaire, Mr. Year's McLaren returned for Barber. They were saying it would be a 6-week recovery from Malukas. That happened a couple weeks before St. Pete, which was in March. It is now April. Ethan, you have the Wikipedia in front of you. Can you scroll up for me, please, to tell me when the St. Petersburg race was? It was March 10th. I think that was late February. It is now late April. 6 months have passed. And it's going to be, or 6 weeks have passed, long past. It's going to be past 8 weeks before he returns. Who knows? You're looking at the Indianapolis road course as a possible return for Lucas, or the Indy 500. Returning at the world's biggest race will be an interesting choice. But yeah.
I have another piece of news.
What?
Jeff Gordon's 2000 Talladega winning car is up for auction if anyone wants to buy me and Andrew a present.
Yeah. Greatly appreciated.
Just to anyone out there.
Yeah. Zach Brown joins IndyCar Marketing Task Force. I know he's brought in a lot of sponsorship to the Arrow McLaren IndyCar team. I know done a lot of work in F1 for sponsorship.
Dude collects sponsorships like it's going out of style.
Like Thanos collects Infinity Stones, I guess you could say.
Even more. Like he collects sponsorships at an insane rate.
But yeah, I think maybe he could get. He's dude knows what he's doing, and I think it'll help the IndyCar Marketing Task Force, because that's probably the biggest weakness in the sport right now. But anyway, that's enough of the news. We're tired of that.
And now for next week's race previews.
Moving on to the previews. Barber, you have Indy for IndyCar. That is in Alabama. In IndyCar, you have Mr. I don't want Indy Next, but Indy Next is racing. Doing a single race here. But in IndyCar, you have you have Jack Harvey will be racing alongside successful driver TBA in the 51. David Malukas as well, or Teo Pourchaire rather. I just said will be in the 6 McLaren. That's really all the part-time cars. Rasmussen still in the 20 for Ed Carpenter. That's not going to change. So yeah. Barber, known for the big spider, and just in Birmingham, Alabama. cool racetrack. Not really the most exciting racetrack, but it'll be a solid race, I expect, from that Barber. They don't have the Barber Spider on the Wikipedia page because I want to show this to Ethan. If you are listening, search up the Barber Raceway Spider, Barber Motorsports Park. Yeah, you got this cool thing. There's a statue there.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what it's known for. So yeah, they've got a bunch of other statues. Definitely a racetrack I want to visit in my lifetime just because of things that are cool, like spiders.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on to Dover, Eric Jones is out with a fractured vertebrae. In his place will be Corey Heim, making his Cup debut. You also have Jimmy the Juggernaut Johnson back at it. Dover was his best track back in the day, arguably. He'll probably run 2 laps down, finish 33rd, something like that. But in the 16, you have A.J. Allmendinger. In the 15, you have Kaz Grala. That's really it in terms of notable drivers. It's a fine racetrack. In Xfinity this week, come on, NASCAR app, work with me. I'm just going to say, if you're looking for the entry list on the NASCAR app, you are darn near unable to find it. So I'm going to the internet, jski.com, where I actually can navigate that site to find the entry list. And you have the notable drivers. You have Daniel Dine as part-time, scheduled for College Racing. That's a kick in the nuts, if you know what I mean. You have Taylor Gray back alongside Ryan Truex, the defending race winner for the Joe Gibbs rotation Toyotas. Corey Heim is racing Xfinity as well. Yeah, that's really it. You've got Carson Kvapil and the 5th junior motorsports car, and you have Caden Honeycutt in the DGM racing car. Always a solid racer. Good to see Honeycutt in the car, who might be rocking a watermelon scheme, maybe not, because I think that this might be a Ross Chastain associated sponsor sponsoring Honeycutt. I know honeydews a fruit. You got similar fruits there with that. But yeah, we'll see who's looking to drive swiftly, as you might say, in Dover. Again, it'll be a fine race. Won't be the most exciting. Again, next gen cars not the greatest at these tracks, but yeah.
And now for next week's race picks.
That being said, Ethan,
Yes.
are you ready for the picks?
Let's go over last week's results. Last week, whole lot of points up for grabs. We all picked Austin Hill for Xfinity, so we all got 1 point there because, he finished ahead of himself, I guess.
Well, he finished ahead of the competition.
Which was no one, so yes. Cup Series, me and my good friend Andrew, we went with Ryan Blaney, who finished ahead of Kyle Larson, who Morgan picked. I believe it was only one position, though. Is that correct?
It was fairly close.
We all picked the number 7 Porsche. And then the first actual win goes to Andrew, picked the 89 Vassar Sullivan. I picked the 12. And Morgan picked the number 57 Windward. That was for IMSA GTD. Scott McLaughlin and Joseph Newgarden, who Andrew and Morgan picked, finished behind Colton Herta, who finished second, who I picked. The number 6 Porsche, who me and Morgan picked, finished above the number 5 Porsche. And then the 92 Manthai, who we also both picked, finished above the number 27 Heart of Racing. Max was first, points for all of us in the sprint
And the main race.
And then we got 2 points for Sergio finishing.
Well, 1 point each.
Yeah. For Sergio finishing third, we both had him second. Morgan actually had him finishing third. That's 5 points for him. So I walk away with 17 points. You both walked away with 19.
Yeah, so both of us gained 2 on you, cutting the lead to 4 from you to me. 24 for the guest.
Yeah, 107 to 103 to 83.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. All right. I'll talk about the guest since the guest picked Sam Mayer, Morgan again. Mayer's always fast.
Yeah.
I went with his teammate, though, who's won twice at Dover.
Yes.
And I thought you wouldn't go with this guy, but you did.
Well, because he's won twice at Dover.
I thought you'd go with the defending winner. I expected, but
I look more than just that one thing.
I went with Mr. Justin Allgaier.
I did as well. He's very good there.
And we'll see. I hope he's running the corn car. I like the corn car.
For the Cup Series, Morgan went with Brad Keselowski. We're not sure why.
Yeah.
But he did.
Totally not because of his roommate's nickname for Keselowski. but Keselowski, he's on a good streak, but I don't even know if he's won at Dover, but it's been a long time.
Yeah. I went with Ross Chastain. He's pretty solid there. He's kind of in a bit of a rough stretch right now, but last year he had a rough couple of races before going into Dover and finishing second, so I hope this year he finishes 1 spot higher.
Martin Truex has won multiple times recently, including last year. It was the Truex Brothers sweep. Yeah. I'll expect 1 half of that to repeat.
Not the other half?
No. I didn't pick him.
Yeah.
Into Indy next. Morgan, being so far behind, picked Lewis Foster. Solid pick. He's a good driver, but Ethan and I, we took Nolan Siegel because he won. I think he won last year. Oh no, he didn't win last year. I don't know anymore.
He won the last Indy Next race.
Yes, he did. But for Barber, Morgan took Scott Dixon, which is a good pick. I can't say that's a bad pick.
I took Pato. He's pretty good there.
Yeah, but Pato's also Pato. I feel like he's won there before, but I just don't see.
I just wanted to pick something different than you.
I went with Pillow. He's been cool, calm, steady Eddie, boring, and that's gonna get him a win. This is just a track that rewards that, and he is that. He's won there before. He'll do it again. Yeah. I know I said last week we're going to talk about the NASCAR silly season this week. That's not going to happen.
Lies.
I didn't expect us to go 20 minutes on the reviews. So, yeah. But anyway, we'll do it next week probably, maybe. And I think next week will be our last podcast where we are in the Cronkite building recording. Yeah.
Till next semester.
Who knows? We might do an in-person podcast at some point.
Maybe.
You may come here. I may go there, up to the Bay.
Why would you come out to the Bay?
Alex wants me to.
Really?
Mutual friend. Who knows?
I mean, that'd be cool if he came out.
I don't think it will happen, but who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah.
We might be in the studio right behind us.
Next semester, yeah. Well, to start off, we'll be here, but we might be live in the studio right behind us next semester. Live
Good
at
old
Points.
Bill Austin.
The Bill Austin radio studio, maybe. We'll see. But anyway, that was the Loose Wheel podcast. And if you want to be a psycho, I have a secret word in the podcast. If you comment down below within 24 hours of when this gets posted and say, this is the secret word, I'll shout you out. Either on here, Instagram, wherever you want to.
Did you actually say it?
I did say it. So yeah.
And
I said a lot of interesting words, but yeah. Anyway, Ethan, have the last word on the podcast, please.
Bye.
To me, it looked like he actually lost the wheel.
The wheel
for Ross Chastain is still and perfect.
Wheel on the track.
Did you leave the wheel loose?
You picked the fine time to leave me loose, wheel.